Hello, wrestling fans. This is Brickhouse Baker, 2008 New England Hall of Famer. I need you people to do me a favor. I need you to go to Chop's Video and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Again, that's Chop's Videos. Go check this out because this guy's got some really good stuff from back in the day. Peace out.
I am the Underground King, SWB, New England Hall of Famer, Test of Strength founder and head coach. Looking for classic wrestling videos featuring New England Hall of Famers and legends? Check out Chop's Videos on YouTube.
With WWF. Do you want to get into that a little bit?
It was just doing squash matches, doing jobs. You know, I mean, people think, oh wow, you worked for WWF, but it's not like I was the world champion or the intercontinental champion or the first guy to sell out I was a job guy. You know, I got squashed.
Was it as simple as you did a tryout and they liked you, and whenever they come to the area they just called you in to do squashes? Was it that simple? Or
yeah, and they would, back in those days, they would go to whoever was local. Like in New England, they'd go to Kowalski and say, could you send some guys over for jobs? You know, they'd go to New York, they asked Johnny Rods. They'd go to whatever territory they were in.
So Walter just send you guys in, and I need this many people, and he just send you guys in.
Yep.
How often or how many times did you get to do that? Quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah, between 1990 and 1994.
Okay, that was my next question. What years?
Yeah.
Good experience, you'd say?
Yeah. Yeah. Except for Tony Garea, but other than that.
Except for Tony Garea.
He was a jerk, but everybody else was cool.
Just the way he talked to people, or just the way he treated people?
It's the way he treated me. He didn't like me for some reason. Whatever. Personalities clash.
Yeah. Do you know Pierre, local guy, the Mountie Pierre?
Oh, Ray Roy, yeah, he's a
Ray Roy,
guy.
Yeah. I did an interview with him not that long ago. You work with him at all?
I worked on a few shows with him, but never worked with him in the ring. Yeah, I mean, we did some stuff with Walter, with Rocky Raymond. And then he was booking for Rocco DeLisandro in Rhode Island for a while, and I did a couple shows for them.
For NEWA.
NEWA, yeah.
What you got any stories of Walter or memories of Walter that you'd like to share?
Well, meeting Walter for the first time was an experience, because I mean, I remember watching him on TV when I was a kid, not only as an in-ring competitor, but also knowing he was in charge of Bedlam from Boston. And I actually talked to him on the phone first, because it was 1991. The Middleborough Police Union was getting ready to do their first fundraiser show in the gym. And I was talking with the police, and they're like, well, if you want to get the card, we don't know the card. You want to talk to Killer Kowalski. I'm like, what does he have to do with this? Oh, he's guy in charge. Oh, okay. So I called him and talked to him. And then when I finally met him it wasn't in Middleborough, it was another show before, I want to say Brockton High. And I couldn't get over the, number one, the size of this man, but number two, the heart, the cordiality, the politeness, just the sweetness of this man that was called Killer Kowalski. I mean, he was just so approachable, and I saw him sign autographs for kids. He didn't turn anybody away, and I was just like, wow. And then finding out he was a vegetarian too, I was blown away. But what a great guy. Nothing. I don't have a bad thing to say about Walter Kowalski.
So did you always plan on becoming a wrestler? When did you decide you were going to get trained?
Well, I wanted to do it from the time I was 4 years old. when I first saw it on TV. That's when I knew. And I remember watching one of the old Coliseum video cassettes from WWF. And it was a match between Walter and Pedro Morales from Madison Square Garden. And Jesse Ventura was doing the lead-in before they went to the actual commentary. And no, Gorilla Monsoon. I'm sorry, it was Monsoon. He says, for those of you who might be interested in wrestling, Walter Kowalski now runs a school north of Boston, Massachusetts. But if you meet him today, don't call him Killer. He prefers to be called Walter. And I'm like, all right, let me find out where this guy is, where the school is. But then I put it on the back burner for a while because I was doing the TV show. But then when I got involved with him coming to Middleborough, and then he would allow me to come and film the shows in Marshfield, in Hanover, and Brockton, and all these other places he did shows. It was kind of a little like trade-off. He's like, yeah, I'll train you and you put me on TV. And it was Brittany Brown who brought me in as her manager, but then she needed a partner for the mixed tag in Middleborough, and she was the one that went to Walter and said, well, what about Vic? And Walter's like, yeah, why not? Everybody there knows him. So, but if you go back and watch the film, it's funny because when you bring in a local guy, the worry was always, we can't get him over as a heel. I get over as a heel. I think people thought I was cocky or something on TV. I don't know, but I get over as a heel. I got booed. And I'm like, good. This is what we want.
And your brother came in later?
Yeah, he didn't come until 2001 when NWA New England, and we did the full-blooded Guatemalans gimmick. And then later for Ant's UCW, Anthony Rufo, we brought in our third brother, Scotty, as our manager, Big Chico. And then there was the three of us for a while. And we grew up idolizing the Von Erichs. And we always said, wouldn't it be cool if we could be like the Von Erichs, not like them, but be a brother team? And dream accomplished. We weren't like the Von Erichs, but we were a brother squad like the Von Erichs.
Yeah, and that's kind of when I ran into you guys over there with Ant's UCW.
Yep.
Which I barely even recognized you guys because you were playing the part of the Guatemalans.
Yeah. Which is funny because in reality, we're only a third Guatemalan. Our father is Guatemalan and our mother is Native American and French Canadian. But that was kind of the joke. You know, the joke was we look like we could be of some ethnicity, but if you've ever seen real Guatemalan people, we're too tall for one thing.
Yeah.
So
I didn't realize you guys were Guatemalan. And when you come out as Guatemalans, I didn't connect the two, honestly. Even afterwards with Rico and all that. I don't know. Sologaistoa really doesn't sound like a Guatemalan name. That sounds more like Italian or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know. Not trying to be offensive or anything. Just I didn't connect the dots. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking Italian or something along that line. Or Greek or something that way. And I just did. And then when you told me that was you, I was like, holy shit, that was you. I didn't even realize it. I didn't.
Yeah.
And then you were like, that's my brother and my other brother. I was like, holy shit, your whole family was here and I didn't even realize it.
And the last name actually came from Spain. My father's remote ancestors came from Spain and settled into Guatemala.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It seemed like Spanish or Italian or Greek. I had that vibe, and you guys kind of look, and you look more okay. Yeah, I could see that in you know. And like you said, you're taller. And I worked with many Guatemalans. So you just didn't. I don't know. Now that you say it, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I can buy that. But it just that's not what I got. Guatemalans, I think, short, and they usually have curlier hair and
right. And that was kind of, and Jay Rumble will tell you too. He always saw us as kind of like a cross between Kai and Tai and the FBI. It's kind of what we were.
I'd ask you greatest feud of all time, but I think I know what you'd say.
Yeah, Von Erichs and the Birds. But if I had to come up with a runner-up, it's Snooker and Piper.
Snooker and Piper.
Yeah.
And you know what? I wouldn't put Morocco and Snooker far behind Piper and Snooker.
Yeah, agreed.
That whole time from the snooker change. Ray Stevens didn't last that long, but Ray Stevens and snooker, Backlund snooker into Ray Stevens and snooker into Morocco and snooker into Piper and snooker. That whole thing was just awesome.
Absolutely.
Really awesome. And then Hogan come in and flatten it right out. He stepped right into Piper. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Another feud I got to give a mention to: Greg Valentine and Tito Santana.
Yeah,
another excellent feud over the Intercontinental title.
I was gonna say Buzz Sawyer and Tommy Rich.
Oh yeah, there we go.
That's usually one I always throw out there.
Yes, I love both those guys. I met Tommy when I did some stuff in Kentucky and Tennessee in the mid '90s. I met Tommy, great guy. I love Tommy Rich.
Oh, you went out there? Who'd you go out there for?
I went for Smoky Mountain and did a couple shots for this or another kind of like a rogue organization in Kentucky called the SWA, the Southern Wrestling Alliance. It was run by a guy named Cecil, whose last name I cannot remember, but his work name was Terry Embry. He was the kayfabe brother of Eric Embry.
Did you work Smoky Mountain? I
sure did.
Wow, you do TV?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. Under what name?
As Volcano Vic. I was a babyface.
Wow, I didn't know you went there too.
Yeah, greatest match of Smoky Mountain, 6-man tag. Myself, Ricky Morton, and Robert Gibson versus Bobby Eaton, Dr. Tom Pritchard, and Stan Lane.
Wow, I've probably seen it and didn't even realize.
Yep.
See, now I wish I had a format set out because I didn't realize we were going to sit down and do a full interview here. I thought you were just going to call in and do the DC thing. I was like, usually I have a format and start at the beginning of your career and walk through like what you've done. I didn't realize we were going to go through all this, but wow.
That's okay.
So you've done a lot, quite a bit.
Yeah.
What's the most traveling you've done? Would that be it? The furthest you've traveled?
Do the Lucha Libre in Mexico, EMLL AAA.
You've done EMLL too?
Yep. Yeah, worked with El Hijo del Santo. That was in 1994.
You worked El Santo down there?
El Hijo del Santo, his son.
His son. I was gonna say that's the son, right?
Yep.
Wow. How long were you down there for? Just for a shot?
Or? 8 months.
8 months? Like,
wow. There for 8 months, yeah.
So you worked quite a few people down there then? Or did you do a couple feuds?
I'm El Hijo del Santo, Perro Aguayo, La Parca, Silver King, and did some battle rounds.
Original La Parca you're talking about.
The original La Parca, yeah.
L.A. Park.
Yeah. And then I did a 6-person with the Villanos. I don't remember who we worked with. Octagon and a couple other fellas, but I don't remember who.
Wow. Who'd you go down there with?
I went down on my own on a recommendation from Too Cold Scorpio because he had seen me on an indie show and he wanted to go down, but then he started to do the Flash Funk thing. So he got in touch with the office and gave me the opportunity.
Was that after Smoky Mountain?
Yeah. No, that was right before. Smoky Mountain was 95. So yeah, this would have been right before.
Jeez. What got you to stop working? Was it injury or just?
Yeah, well, in 2003, I met Lisa, my wife, who, as in October, we've been married 19 years. And as of tomorrow, we've been together for 20. And when we decided to start a family, because we only have one child, but at that point I decided, yeah, you know what, maybe time to wind this down. Knew I was going to be a dad, so let's be healthy. Let's be 100%. Let's be in one piece. Then I stopped. 2003 I stopped, and House of Bricks came calling with Mike Baker, Brickhouse Baker, back in 2015. Flashback Friday night when he wanted to bring all the old Yankee Pro boys back together. So it's like, all right, let's do this for one night. Let's see what happens. I got bit again. And so I worked again for another 2 years exclusively with House of Bricks. All those matches are on YouTube on the House of Bricks channel, including the final match, which I didn't know was going to be my final match at the time, but it was a fatal 4-way. It was me and a masked man whose name I can never remember, and Buff Daddy Busick and Dangerous Donnie Rotten. So the masked man does a double clothesline spot with me and Donnie. I bumped the wrong way and sprained my back, and I didn't even finish the match because I was so hurt. And that's when I realized it's time to quit. And I got a cataract in my right eye. I'm 35% deaf in my right ear, so it's And then I came to Florida and did the Disney thing, and as of July, I've been here 5 years.
Yeah, I just talked to Brick, and he gave me permission to use all his House of Bricks footage, and
Nice.
I can make videos, do whatever, come down and film if I want. He's like, whatever you want. Supposed to do an interview with him any day now. As soon as we can set up a day that he's free, I'm supposed to do an interview with him. Awesome. He's hard though, he don't like talking to people. He's off and on,
I know, but I'll tell you though, I worked with him in the ring, Yankee Pro, summer of '95 when I got back from Smokey. We worked we worked the Whaling City Festival when he was Yankee Pro champion, and I'll never forget it. He's like, "We're gonna do a spot. I'm gonna throw you to the turnbuckle. I'm gonna come at you and I'm gonna clothesline you. Bump out of the ring. Don't just. I hate when people just stand there. Take a bump." So he hit me with the clothesline. 1, 2, turn, bump. I did the Valentine bump. We get back in the dressing room area afterwards, and he's like, "Awesome bump." I said, "You told me to take a bump." He's like, "Yeah, but most guys just stand there." He says, "I like what you did." I said, "Yeah." Well, I said, "Thank Greg Valentine." Been friends ever since.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy. I don't know him that well, but we had a good talk. He's like, we were typing, and he like videoed me on Messenger. We ended up talking for like 45 minutes. And I'm like, dude, I could be like recording this right now. It could be the interview. You know what I mean? He's like, no, we'll do that later. We're talking wrestling for 45 minutes. I'm like, this could be the interview right now. We're talking for as long as me and you have right now.
Nice. Maybe he wants to be better prepared for the interview. Some guys were like that. Some guys, I remember watching guys in any organization I was in. I remember guys getting ready to do their promos and like they've got the legal pad. Okay, I got to make sure I hit this point. I'll make sure I mention this. Make sure I say that. And I just be standing there, and they're like, "Vic, you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, turn the camera on."
Yeah.
And I just went.
So, what's your memories of Smoky Mountain? Any stories from there? Did you get to meet Cornette?
Oh yeah, I met Jim Cornette, and he is, without question, I think, for someone who's not a wrestler, I think he's got the most passion for the business of anyone I've ever met. He always wants to make sure he puts out a good product that the people can enjoy and the boys can be proud of. And if you ever want to get on his good side, just tell him WWE sucks and buy him dinner at Wendy's. That man loves Wendy's. But yeah, I love Jim. Jim's awesome.
Any memories for when you were down there? What about from Ricky and Robert?
I only got to work with them in that 1-6-man, but every time I saw them in the locker room, just cordial, polite, just sweet guys.
I mean, you had to learn just from being in their presence, I would imagine.
Absolutely. And Robert especially would like give me pointers on, because I was still like kind of a rough around the edges baby face. So he'd kind of give me some pointers about playing to the crowd and stuff like that. And you know who I saw too down there before he became big was Glenn Jacobs. He was doing the Unabomb gimmick.
Oh yeah, Al Snow down there too, right?
Al Snow was there. Kevin Sullivan, Paul Orndorff came through for a little bit. Dutch Mantell. Yeah, I get to rub elbows with some big names.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I like Smoky Mountain a lot. That was great. I really wish that was at a different time. If it was like 5 years earlier or 5 years later, I really think it could have had a good go down there.
Absolutely. And of course the Armstrong boys were there too. Road Dogg, before he was Road Dogg, was just kind of hanging around. But you had Brad, Steve, and Scott Armstrong were all working at that time, working on top. So yeah, and the locker room was great. There was no problems. Everybody was cool. Not a single jerk in the locker room. Everybody, it was a good atmosphere.
Any memories of Bob? Any run into Bob? Are you talking to Bob or anything?
Oh yeah, talked to Bob a lot, picked his brain, and again, just what a sweet guy. I say that about a lot of people, but Bob really was. He was a nice guy, and I stayed in his house when I was down there. When I worked with Smokey, I stayed in his house. And I hung out with his boys. So it was cool. And his wife was a damn good cook, real good cook.
Oh, you got to go hang at his house? That's awesome.
Yep, absolutely. Good times.
Wow, that's some memories right there.
No doubt.
What about Kevin Sullivan?
Kevin's interesting. He's a little hard to read at first, but once you get to know him, he's cool. And I've run into him at other places since. What's his name that does the New England Hall of Fame?
Joe Bruin.
Joe Bruin, thank you. I ran into him at the 2014 Hall of Fame because I think he was going in, and the Powers of Pain and Brittany went in. I co-inducted Brittany with the Godfather of Wrestling, Don Bartzini, and Nikolai was there, and but Kevin was he was unique. But again, you had to get to know him. Kevin was kind of what's the word? Kind of standoffish. But once you got to know him, Kevin was cool.
Was Adam Baum down there at that time?
Yes, he was. He was
the Night Stalker.
Yeah, he was just getting ready to come to New York. He came before Glenn did. Yeah,
he's a big man. He was really big back then.
Absolutely. And another guy that I saw potential when I saw him. I said, "This guy, I'm going to see him down the line. He's going to be a star."
Was Wing Canamura down there at that time? He went through there at one point.
No, I think I might have just missed him.
Okay, I think he only come through for like a week or two.
Right.
He did that thing where he gashed his arm open, and it was on TV. That was horrible.
I saw Johnny K9 when I was there.
Oh, Johnny K9, yes.
I saw him when
Any
he was there.
Johnny K9 stories? Oh my God.
Oh, I tell you, when I watched The Dark Side of the Ring, it was one of those that I wasn't sitting there going, "Wow, I never knew that." I was more like, yep, I remember that. I remember that instance. Yep. He was just as crazy as they said. And it was amazing because I remember watching him as enhancement on WWF, and then to see him come in, the transformation. I mean, it was just like, holy moly. I mean, he was just as crazy as they said he was. But nice guy, though. Yeah.
I was gonna say, was he as nice as they say he was? Like, hey, buddy, hey.
Yeah. I mean, he saw me, this guy that he knew me from a hole in the wall. Hey, brother, arm around me. How you doing? Hey, how's it going? You working tonight? Oh, hey. And yeah, he was that kind of guy.
That's awesome. When you were in WWF or WWE, who would you say was the nicest and most friendly there? Open.
Bam Bam Bigelow. He was very nice to me when I met him. He was Aiden. Just a joy to talk to. And the enhancement guys, he wasn't stopped at those guys, us at all. Give us the time of day, talk to us. And Bastion Booger too, because he's a Kowalski guy. Mike Shaw, he was trained by Kowalski, so he knew some of the other fellas. But yeah, those are probably the two nicest guys that I met in the locker room.
Wow, Mike Shaw was a Kowalski guy? I didn't know that either.
Yes, indeed. He's in our Hall of Fame also.
I kind of assumed he was a Calgary guy just because he was up there for so long.
And Muck and Sing, yeah. But no, yeah, he came from Kowalski's.
Oh. You ever meet Dr. D. David Schultz?
No, I would love to though.
Oh. Well, I know he worked a lot in the area for Walter and stuff, so I didn't know if you happened to run into him.
No, that was a little bit before me.
Oh, all right. I know he used to come in for Savoldi and all that. He come through here a lot, so you never know.
Yeah, never got to meet him though. I would love to.
him or Bruiser Brody, I would love to meet or hear stories about them too, you know.
Absolutely.
Two of my favorites.
Same. Frank was another one I never got to meet, but I would have loved to.
What about Jules Strongbow? You ever meet Jules Strongbow?
Yeah. I met him when he was promoting. Didn't care for him. He ran a show on Cape Cod, 1993. I'm managing Brittany in the main event against Wendy Richter. And Brittany will back me up on this story. And I get the match too. I can't prove my theory, but I think that Jules put her up to hurting us because Brittany broke a couple of toes, and I got stitches, 13 stitches in my head for when she whacked me with her belt. Because Brittany got disqualified because I ran into the ring, and Brittany had Wendy in a full Nelson. I went to clothesline Wendy ducked. I hit Brittany. Referee already called for the disqualification. Wendy rolled me up and pinned me. When we're on our way out, if you watch the film, you see her. We're out of the ring. She does this overhand shot with the belt, got me in the head, and I had to go to Cape Cod Hospital there and get 13 stitches in my head. So, yeah, Jules isn't one of my favorite people. Neither is Wendy.
Well, that was my next question. Any stories on Wendy Richter? But that would probably be a Wendy Richter story. Is that the only time you met her?
Yeah, that's the only time. And even when we were going over the match before the show in the locker room, she just wasn't very friendly.
Huh. And that was just like a spot show for him somewhere.
Yep, it was in Sandwich, Massachusetts.
I'll ask her about that too.
Oh yeah, she'll tell you. Every time we see each other, when I go up to New England, the conversation always comes around to that match. We always talk about it.
Give me material to ask her while I'm talking to you also.
There we go. Perfect.
What's that? What about Anthony Rufo?
I don't wish to speak ill of the dead, but Anthony and I did not like each other.
Okay, that's fine.
And a lot of that is because he subscribed to a rumor that Silvano Souza subscribed to also. I don't know who started this, but somebody told Souza, who told Rufo, who told this one and told that one, and they all didn't like me because apparently I broke into Robert Gibson's house and robbed him. It never happened.
And you said you never worked for Tony Rumble. Did you ever meet Tony Rumble?
Oh yeah, I met Tony. I like Tony a lot.
Any memory or story of Tony Rumble, or just
funniest memory I got of Tony Rumble is one of his shows. Went to go watch it. I was there with my brother and some friends that used to hang out at Joe T's. So we all decided to go to the show because we knew Trooper and we knew Joel Davis, so we wanted to go watch the show. And Tony went in the ring, and because Tony Rumble, of course, was the commissioner of CWA, the owner, of course. And he went in, he made some announcement about something in the match, and there was an empty seat next to me, ringside. He sat next to me, and he would watch the match. It was the House of Pain and the Archangels, and every time Archangels would do something, no, House of Pain would do something, Tony would nudge me like, "Did you see that? You believe that?" He kept doing the entire match. And I'm not even one of his talent, but you believe that? I don't know if it ever made it to TV, but it was funny.
What about Gino Martino?
So Gino and I got along. I like Gino. Worked with Gino one time in Braintree, Massachusetts at the Moose. It was Dave and I, my brother, against Gino and Ann. There was the full-blooded Guatemalans against the Millennium Killers. My wife's in the audience. Not my wife yet at the time, but she's in the audience. And she said that Dave and I came out first. Anthony and Gino came out, and she said, "Holy shit, they're going to get killed." But I'm proud to say it was about an 18 to 20-minute match, and it was back and forth, back and forth. And I remember Gino saying, we got in the locker room, and Gino goes to my brother, geez, you listen really good. Who trained you? He was my brother. She goes, excellent job, bro. You did good with him. I'm like, well, thank you. And it was a great match. And Gino and I, that was the only time we ever worked together, but we were on a lot of shows together afterwards. And yeah, always a good guy. Always fun to talk to.
I get along with Gino. I like Gino. He's always been good to me.
Yeah, good dude.
What was your favorite Fed to work for?
Wow. I've never been asked that. Man, I got to go home. IWF. Kowalski's IWF. Those people have become my family, you know, we have the reunion every year, and that just further strengthens that, you know. And those, I've worked so many places and had a lot of, you know, great times, great memories, great matches, but man, nothing beats IWF. Those are the best days of my life.
Who was your favorite opponent?
Snooky Fink, hands down. Snooky Fink, who lives here in Orlando now. But yeah, one day he and I need to do, like, on the WWE Network, they have this thing called Table for Three, where three personalities would sit and have dinner and like reminisce. Snooky and I need to do that. A table for two.
Who's your favorite tag team partner?
Pat Tanaka.
Pat Tanaka.
Did some indie stuff and I know my brother hates to hear that, but on the indies, Pat and I did some great work together. But Pat Tanaka is my all-time favorite partner.
You got a good Pat Tanaka story?
Not really. I mean, he was very reserved. He was very, very quiet. I mean, I can't say kept to himself because he talked to me, but I think the greatest story that I have is a debunk story, is that he's not related to Professor Toru Tanaka. Everybody thought he was Professor's son. He's the son of Texas legend Duke Kiabuka, who worked for Ed McLemore before Fritz took the territory over. So
yeah,
I think
he's a big Texas name.
Absolutely. But yeah, Pat's my favorite partner of all time.
Wow. When did you tag with him? Just around Independence?
The Independence around the Southwest, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Louisiana.
I didn't even know you were down around there.
Oh yeah.
What year was that? Was before?
That's mid-90s. I mean, the dying days of the territories, I get to go and get my feet wet in some of them.
You were just going all around wherever you could go around that time in the mid-90s.
Wherever I could get booked.
Huh.
And I knew if I couldn't get booked somewhere out there, I could always come and get booked at Yankee Pro or NEWA or somewhere in New England.
What was it like working down in EMLL with the language barrier?
Well, I mean, I do speak a little Spanish, enough to get by, you know, being part Guatemalan. I mean,
yeah.
I always make the joke that I can speak enough Spanish to hail a cab and order a sandwich, but it's a little more, I can understand the language, but there were always interpreters, always guys there to, you know, help you out. Yeah. As far as working with those guys, it was weird because I came in and I looked kind of like Andre. I was a lot bigger than these guys. It didn't matter. Those guys hit, and they hit hard. It wasn't. It was borderline shoot with those guys, and you learn to work their style, or you know, get killed basically.
Yeah, it's just like I said. It's a whole different style, so you would think you'd have to communicate more, even knowing the language without being like totally fluent. I would think it would be hard because you're only throwing out little things. It's not like you could have a whole conversation, and you're working a whole different style that you normally don't work. So I would think it would be difficult, and you would have issues.
Luckily, I've always been the kind of person you can show me how to do something like once or twice, and I can pick up on it.
Oh, cool. So what kind of relationship or run-ins did you have with Triple H when he was still around before he made it? Any kind of?
So if you watch his video, Thy Kingdom Come, I'm in the first 10 minutes. I'm interviewing him in Burlington, Vermont for his very first match, November 1992, against Tony Roy. This is for Don Bartzini up in Burlington, Vermont. And I didn't manage him that night, but I interviewed him for Continental Cable. And after the match, I had managed Freight Train Fulton. And after the show, he came to me and he said, you know, you should really be my manager. I like what you do. And I'm like, okay. So with Walter's shows after that, I managed him in Rhode Island, Cranston, Rhode Island, and some other shows that we did around the New England area. And, I helped him get started and helped him. Walter trained him, of course, but I helped him. I like to take some credit for teaching him how to get heat as a heel, because as a manager, I much like Bobby Heenan, much like Jim Cornette, you don't want to put the heat on yourself. You put it on your protege, all the attention on your protege. And I like to think that I have a video clip. I need to find it and find a way to put it online. I don't know if you remember this. In 1993, I tried to go to the U.S. Army. And after 6 weeks, they sent me home because of a medical condition. And I actually have a farewell message from Terror Rising, wishing Vic Vicious a goodbye. We worked together many times, and I never had a better manager than you, or something like that. I need to find that clip and find a way to put it online.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, it was, we had a good time together. And it wasn't until the Middleborough show in 93 that I relinquished him to Vito Carlucci, so to speak, because I had to wrestle that night. So, but yeah, I get to manage him, and he didn't forget, because he put me in the video, and it's on Peacock too. So I didn't even know about it until the DVD came out. And a guy that I went to school with, I don't know if you remember Adam Duhamel.
Oh yeah.
He messages me, because we're friends on Facebook. He messaged me, he's like, hey Vic, here's a screenshot. I came across, is this you? And I looked at it, I was like, holy crap, it is. On the video, I'm like, yeah, that is me.
Oh yeah, I knew Adam and Andre since they were little, because I went to school on me and Andre graduated together, so they grew up right up the street from me when we were little. They were right up the street from me. So
gotcha. Yeah, so I knew Adam. We graduated the same year, but he graduated from BP.
Yeah,
he gone to BP high school.
So what's your thoughts on him retiring now and all that?
Well, I think he made the right call. Not only because of his health issues, but he has 3 daughters and he has a wife, and he learned this business, and I think really his strengths now lie in behind the scenes. What he was able to do with NXT, unfortunately, it's kind of taken a different turn now, but what he was able to do with NXT initially, he has such a sharp mind for the business, and a lot of that he learned from Walter and being around Walter all those years. So, I'm very proud of him and what he's done, and he is the game. He always will be. And I just think back to the great matches he had as a worker, but also the things that he's done behind the scenes. And I know he's in the Hall of Fame as part of DX, but man, he needs to go in there by himself too, because he's awesome. And it makes me beam to know that I was there at the beginning.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. What about China?
China came in after I left. So I was already gone from IWF when China came in. So I had very little personal interaction with her, just meeting her at shows here and there when she was still Joni Lee. Brittany, I think, would have more China stories than I do. In fact, I know she does.
Yeah, she probably had to deal with her quite a bit, huh?
She did. Yeah.
How long was Triple H around the area before he was gone?
About a year and a half.
I was going to say about 2 years.
Close to 2 years, maybe a little over a year and a half, because I remember I left IWF, and then months later, I remember watching WCW Saturday Night and seeing Terror Rising. I'm like, when did this happen?
Yeah.
I was shocked, but happy at the same time. Because there's another guy that I knew from the time I saw him. I said, this guy is like, it's like he's built like Lex Luger and he's got 3 times the talent. So I think this guy's gonna be big.
About the same for Saturn and Cronus.
Oh yeah, Saturn. I saw he was skinny when I saw him for the first time. And Middleborough in '91, he wrestled Brian Bugle in the first match. But despite his lack of build, there was a spark there. And then joining with Cronus, I think was the best thing to happen to both those guys, because Saturn got himself in shape. Johnny was a little overweight when he first came to the school, but Saturn whipped him into shape. And once they got the eliminators, yeah, they were off and running.
Man, at one point they were so good. They were probably the best tag team in wrestling.
Absolutely.
Probably like 96 or so.
Yeah. Matches they had with PG-13 and some of the other and Lawler and Dundee. I mean, and then in ECW matches with the Dudleys and the FBI and other teams that they tangle with. I don't remember if they worked with RVD and Sabu, but I mean, they worked with every other top team there.
Yeah, they did. They worked with RVD and Sabu.
Did they?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. They put on some good matches.
Nice. I can imagine. That's 4 talented guys right there.
I don't know how much longer you got. You want to keep going, or do you got to get off? Or
well, what time we got? Because I know my tummy's grumbling, but
6:15.
Oh yeah, it's just about supper time.
Okay, we can wrap it up.
Sure, and we can always do it again.
Yeah, let's plan on doing it again. That's why I don't want to keep you too long. I don't want to burn you out. I figured that. I was like, yeah, I'm starting to get hungry. He's probably starting to get hungry. I don't have anything prepared. So good time though. We get some stuff off of there.
Absolutely. Been my pleasure, Chop. Thank you for getting in touch with me, and definitely when you want to do it again, we'll do this again.
Oh, thank you for doing it. Next time we'll talk. We'll just sit down and talk some wrestling. Sure. This time I didn't know what we were doing. I thought you were just going to call in, give me a DC story and sign off. Because the first time I asked you, like, I don't know. I was like, oh, he really don't want to talk online. So he's just going to give me a story and hop off. And when you didn't and you started talking, it kind of caught me off guard. So I was like, okay. And I started scrambling, just, all right, I'll throw a question here, a question there. And I kept expecting you to jump off, and you didn't. So then I started rolling with it. The first 20 minutes before I got comfortable and just started talking to you. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's kind of how it was when I first got on.
Well, a lot of it too is like you get me talking about wrestling, and I can go all day long. But at the same time, I'm not 100% comfortable talking about myself. I can talk about other people.
Right.
Talking about myself is just weird to me, but you brought it out. So
right. I kind of get that, and I got that from a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to talk to me, and then once we start talking, they're like, dude, it's such fun. Let's do it again. Because I think they think of it as like I'm going to be like a business, or like other interviews where it's like, hey, this, and with a microphone. And I'm like, dude,
right.
We're just hanging out talking fucking wrestling. I'm very informal. I'm very much like, let's just talk wrestling. And even if we do your career, I just sit here and talk like we're talking, like one thing after another. Hey, how'd you get into wrestling? Oh, really? I legitimately want to hear people's passion for wrestling and how they get in wrestling, how they like wrestling. What got you into wrestling? What got you liking it? Who's your favorite? And me and you really traveled the same, watched the same thing in the same areas. And it interests me a lot to hear, oh my God, we had these wrestling on in Middleborough that I didn't know about. Like, you know what I mean? We're right. Really on the same line. You're a couple of years younger than me, but other than that, there's a lot of the same things with me and you.
Absolutely.
For years, everybody was like, you need to talk to Vic Sologaistoa. You're in wrestling, you need to talk to Vic Sologaistoa. People used to try to get me to go on your show all the time.
Too bad it never happened. I think that would have been great.
It would have been, but I was like, I'd be an oddball. Look, I wouldn't fit on that show, especially back in high school. You remember me in high school with bandanas on and all this stuff. I'd be like, yeah, I'd stick out on that show. You guys are all clean cut and stuff. I'd be like, I can picture me walking on that stage. I'd be like, smoking my cigarette, and I'd stand out like a sore thumb, But personality-wise, I would have fit in. Just looks-wise and stuff, I wouldn't have, But I'll let you go eat, and let's definitely do this again.
Absolutely, Chop. Been a pleasure.
Been a pleasure, man. Thank you for doing this.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
I'll talk to you soon.
Right on.
Bye, man.
All right, man.
This is the Puerto Rican Punisher Baby telling you to check out Chop's videos on YouTube. He's got the best collection of classics in New England wrestling and professional wrestling in general. So go ahead, subscribe, give him a follow, give him a like, and hit the bell notification so that you get the latest videos when they drop. Y no te olvides que guste o no te guste, Chop Videos, esa es la que hay.
Gorgeous, and I am a Primal Conflict Wrestling superfan.
I mean, how could you not want to see Jamie Payne and Nemesis? Oh my God.
Have you ever taken a chair shot before? Now, I had never taken a chair shot before. But I'm not going to say that I never took a chair shot before.
Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Primal Conflict Television. My name is Studley Steve Stein.
I don't think there has been an indie promotion since then that had that loyal fan base that Primal had.
Following conflict.
Like I need you around, you sticking me up, and I don't wanna be stuck without a moment to spare. It's like I'm already there when you need me, and right here, I'm ready to go. Kinda like I be mad, you think it might be the passion. Got me ready to fight, I got it right on my gut. Just another distraction, try to make a reaction. Got me down on my sight, and so I'm kicking them shut. You be all on my way when I got something to say, and you ain't got the same knock marks in your veins. And I will do it again, but I won't go it alone. Cause it be living like a hurricane, you leaving your home. And I be giving it up, and I ain't making the time when you be having this illusions in your mind. And we be cutting you off, but you ain't helping yourself. And I'm just thinking about the people you got living in hell. It's the same damn color I bleed. They nothing more to you than the rest to me. It's the same damn color I bleed. They nothing more to you than the rest of me.
You're gonna get it, but I won't let it be. A faded memory, Jack Dawn's the enemy. A roll call, ready for the remedy. A burst of energy, secretly sending me on an excursion. My vision blurs when I'm double-fisted, twisted, demented. Jammed them off some skunk, scented, invented a new type of pattern. Then I add in a dose. I keep my eyes open like ghosts for most. It's an alternative escape. No strings attached, avoid the red tape. And the blue lights, I'm up with the kites coming down. The sound of a lighter strikes, I see it glowing. In my direction, walls for the cause like now, resurrection. Took place and I fell with my people like a living in hell.
It's the same damn color I bleed. Ain't nothing more to you than the rest of me. It's the same damn color I bleed. Ain't nothing more to you than the rest of me.
I hit something else.
It's a safety code I bleed. There's nothing more to you than the rest without.
You know, on the one hand, they were so cool to a fan that, you know, they didn't have to be, and they were. But at the same time, it was just that, you know, we don't give a shit attitude. We just don't, you know, we do what we want when we want. And that, you know, to me, that was just the coolest thing.